What's up, guys? Welcome to the Stats Free Sports channel. Here to bring you my post NFL draft trade predictions video. I'm gonna give you 5 guys that I'm very confident in that will be traded sometime throughout this offseason process and maybe even to the season as well. Let's get into it, guys. So first off, disclaimer: I can't predict when these guys will be traded. It could be tonight, it could be mini camp, training camp, preseason, all the way up to the NFL trade deadline during the season. So I can't really give you a timeline, but these 5 players I'm very confident in will be traded sometime in the season of 2024, the NFL season. But let's get into it, guys. First off, I'm going to start with a guy I'm really confident in. I can dang near guarantee it. I still could be wrong, but in my eyes, he's a shoe-in for a trade. And that's Matthew Judon from the New England Patriots. Veteran pass rusher, been around for a long time, been good for a very long time also. Missed some time last year with injury, but overall still a good pass rusher. But he's on last year of his contract, and he's also on a bad team. The Patriots did get better throughout the draft, found a new quarterback, found some new weapons, got some new pieces, but overall they're nowhere near being a contender and even a playoff team unless Drake May balls out. The defense should still be good, but the offense is going to be a work in progress. New head coach. Same regime, though, kind of sort of with Mayo being a former player, been with Belichick the entire time since he retired. But still, it's a kind of a new regime, new head coach. And what's the point of keeping an aging veteran pass rusher when a contending team will be vying for his services? And as we all know, as the season goes on, injuries happen, the preseason, all that stuff, training camp, injuries happen to players that we hope everyone stays healthy, but especially in those main starting spots, the freak injuries happen, Achilles, ACLs, all that stuff. So when those things do happen, which could take time, that will open up eventually. That will open up a hole for Matthew Judon to be traded in. Like I said, it could be prior to the season, but we could have to wait for some of these guys and even Judon to be traded during the season. So we'll see there, but I do like Judon being moved sometime in 2024. Next up, Allen Lazard from the New York Jets, one of Aaron Rodgers' favorite weapons. He's the one I'm kind of iffy on. As I said earlier, I was confident on all of them. I meant to say on 4 out of the 5. Lazard's the one that's kind of giving me he might stay or might get cut vibes. And he might stay because obviously he followed Aaron Rodgers from the Packers last year, signed a multi-year deal. But with Rodgers only playing, one series last year, he was stuck with Zach Wilson and the other guys that ended up playing quarterback for the Jets. And he was a healthy scratch towards the end of the season for a couple of games. So there was some sprinkles of trade rumors for Allen Lazard early during the offseason. Nothing came of it, but he does have a $10 million price tag. I don't know if a team wants to pay that, for Lazard. Is he really worth that? He's a good deep threat, solid hands, but he's a great a great blocker in general, especially at that receiving spot for run plays, for screens behind him. He's a great blocker, one of the best blockers in the NFL currently. But will somebody be willing to trade for him and take that $10 million price tag on him? That's the spot that's kind of tricky for me. Or, as I said earlier, when Rodgers does return, he's healthy now, hopefully, and plays for the full season, Rodgers might demand him to stay. So that's something there that we could watch out for. But Lazard, if he is traded, could be a very good option for one of these teams here. Wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. And like I said, screen plays, run to his side. He's a very good blocker. Very intense, very hands-on blocker, and he definitely, as I said, one of the best receiving blockers, best blocking wide receiver, in today's NFL. Next up, I have a quarterback, no one really of big stature, but Nick Mullens from the Vikings. As we all know, the Vikings have Sam Darnold, might be the starter. I really hope J.J. McCarthy doesn't start right away for the Vikings. Then you have J.J. McCarthy, who I just mentioned. He picked number 11, pick 10. They did trade up one spot for him. They have McCarthy, and then they have Jaron Hall, if not mistaken. They drafted him last year, I believe, in the 5th or 6th round. So I think Mullens could be the odd man out, but I think he will be traded. He should hold value. And we've seen last year a bunch of contending teams and good teams, when the quarterback end up going down, like the Jets, like Aaron Rodgers, like Joe Burrow, like other teams, you need a backup quarterback to be in place. And Nick Mullens will definitely be, he's not a game changer, nothing like that, but he is steady, he is okay, and he has experience that could help lead a team for a game or two, or even the rest of the season if something happens to one of the starting quarterbacks in today's NFL. So I'd like Mullens to be traded sometime throughout this season. I don't think he'll be cut because he does hold some value, sixth, seventh round, maybe even fifth round pick if the team is being very quarterback needy. Depends on the emergency or whatever. So I can definitely see Nick Mullens being moved on from, and I think the Vikings will hold on to four quarterbacks for a little bit until they find a home for either Nick Mullens, or they could just cut Hall and just keep Mullens as well. So have two veterans in front of JJ McCarthy. So I could be wrong altogether, but I do see Mullens having value. So that's three. So as I said, one, Matthew Judon, two, Alan Lazard, three, Nick Mullens. Next up, I have Khalil Herbert, running back from the Bears. One of my favorite guys in the NFL. He had his chance to really show improve after Montgomery left last year. He was okay, but you're working with an O-line that's not the greatest, but he was okay. He wasn't great, but he shared runs last year with Roshan Johnson from Texas. I think he's the number two behind DeAndre Swift. And to mention Swift, the Bears brought in Swift on a nice little contract. I was surprised there. I had them pegged to get Saquon Barkley, but with Swift being a starter now, you have Roshan Johnson, in my opinion, as the change-up back, as the bigger back, the power back, the number two behind Swift. I think that leaves Khalil Herbert as the odd man out. Now, you can definitely say that they could keep all three guys because Swift does have some injury issues. But I do think, as I said, injuries happen. Stuff happens, and teams can need running backs. And I think Herbert will definitely be a prime candidate to be traded. Contract isn't too bad on last year of his deal as well. So it definitely makes sense for a team to want a guy like Khalil Herbert to round out and bring depth to their running back room, or even be a spot starter, depending on what happens with injury or something. So I think that's a pretty good, solid move as well to bring in a guy like Khalil Herbert. And the last option, number 5. Last player on my list, number 5, Darius Slayton from the New York Giants. He had some buzz, rumored to be traded throughout the NFL draft. Didn't happen, at least as of recording this video, it hasn't happened yet. But when the Giants selected Malik Neighbors, as we all knew, that was an option, and it actually got him. I didn't think it would happen. I was pegging them to get Roma Dunze. It seems like everybody on that roster is Malik Neighbors clones. You have Wandale Robinson, Darius Slayton himself, Jalen Hyatt, and Malik Neighbors. They all kind of give you the same style of receiver. Now, Neighbors is better. He's more explosive than all of them. He's better hands, all that good stuff. I understand that, but they all give you the same feel. They're all, just the same body type, style, everything. They all look alike as well for the most part, except Hyatt. He's the lighter skinned one, but they all kind of give the same vibe, look like everything. So I thought prior to the draft that they would kind of go with Roma Dunze to give them a switch up in style, a different type of deep threat, but they went with Neighbors instead. I think Slayton could be the odd man out, and that via trade. Same as the other guy, most of the guys on this list except for Alan Lazard. Slayton is on the last year of his contract, only pays about $6 million. The cap hit isn't large at all, and he's a good receiver. Solid hands, steady hands. And as I said earlier, probably a move that happens after training camp, injuries, Achilles, knees, but whatever happens, you want to have a solid guy who can come in right away. And Slayton, who was the Giants' number 1 option last year, can definitely be a contending team number 2, a high-end number 3 option. And that would be great for him as well because he's not really a 1, obviously. So him being a number 3 option, or maybe he being a low-end 2nd option, would be very good. He's solid, got speed on him, good size on him. He knows how to play ball, good route runner. He does everything pretty well. He's just not number 1 caliber player. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone has their role, and I think Slayton does his role well. He's been on my trade market as well for a couple years now. I think the last 2 years I've had him as a trade candidate. Didn't happen. Obviously still with the Giants after all these years, but I definitely think this year could be the year because if you're the Giants, you want to have guys to you don't want to have a young guy step up, and Jalen Hyatt needs more playing time. Wan'Dale Robinson, if he can stay healthy, needs more playing time. So I think those two guys in particular can definitely move up. And if Slayton is moved on from, they could definitely move up and pair with Malik Neighbors and have a nice, speedy, deep threat offense. It just depends on if Daniel Jones can kick him the ball, and Brian Daboll can scheme up a good game plan to get Jones to give them the ball. Because if any of those guys, Robinson, Hyatt, or Neighbors, get the ball, it could be a one-catch touchdown. They're all that explosive. They're all that fast. They're all great deep threats. Mainly Hyatt and Neighbors. Wan'Dale Robinson, he's kind of a do-it-all guy, kind of a gotcha guy, but he does have some good speed on him as well, good elusiveness as well. But Hyatt and Neighbors more the elite speed guys. And we seen that last year. Hyatt didn't get too many chances, but when he did, he went off for a couple of deep ball touchdowns, and he has speed to spare, and Neighbors does too. So if you press on those guys and miss, it's going to be problems. If you play off coverage and get faked out or eyes are elsewhere, you're going to get blown by as well. So I think the Giants do move off of Slayton finally, at least from my opinion. I had him paired to be moved a while ago now. I think they move off of Slayton, and he goes to a contending team if an injury happens. If not, he goes somewhere else and just be a part of the receiver core, because the Giants need to move on and go young. And we'll see, because he could stay. Because Brian Daboll does have to prove that he can keep a job. I don't know if he's on the hot seat yet. I haven't really thought about it, but you're looking at it now. I think Daniel Jones is on the hot seat for sure as a starting quarterback. But Daboll, he had a great first year, had a tragic second year, and then the third year we'll have to see now. So New York is tough, and they could definitely fire him and Jones together, even though he didn't draft Jones. They could be a pair, and the ownership of the Giants might let Daboll go with Jones, and the new regime can start new with the new quarterback in 2025 draft. So we'll see how everything shakes out. But these are 5 guys I feel comfortable in, except for one, except for Allen Lazard of the Jets. I think Aaron Rodgers could have some pull there and keep him there. But all the other 4 guys, I really feel good about being moved sometime throughout the 2024 NFL season. Unless they get injured, obviously, then that won't be happening. But we'll see how everything shakes out, guys. That's it for the video. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.